Hello, my name's Christian Swain, aka the Rock and Roll Archaeologist. I'm also the CEO of Pantheon Media and one of the executive producers on this project about the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary and the city that gave them life, San Francisco. In 1987, I went down to Anaheim Stadium to see a band that had been around long before I became a music fan. And that night, I heard a band that, for me, redefined the words rock and roll. I remember being blown away by their freeform music, their loose playing, and the beautiful crowd that seemed to appear from a bygone era. That band was San Francisco's now legendary Grateful Dead. 60 years on and countless shows later, they've kept the Dead spirit alive. And now, they've become San Francisco's most iconic rock and roll band. So in the summer of 2025, when we heard Dead & Company was going to celebrate the music that never stopped, well, needless to say, we jumped at the chance to make a podcast, a trivia game, and this documentary, or rockumentary, you're about to see. But hey, enough of my yakking. What do you say? Let's boogie.
Let's go, San Francisco! Listen, what you all have brought to our city over the last week and here tonight, you've brought joy, you've brought energy, you've brought love. It's just what San Francisco needed.
Close your eyes and feel the grass underneath your feet. Breathe in that San Francisco air, salt, eucalyptus, and 60 years of counterculture history. That's the sound of a community gathered where it all began, Golden Gate Park. For 3 nights in August, this wasn't just a concert, it was a homecoming, a celebration of 6 decades of the Grateful Dead. But as those nights unfolded, something else became perfectly clear. This wasn't just celebrating the past, it was a glimpse into the future. It was a 2-week celebration touching every corner of San Francisco. From Jerry Day to intimate shows across town, you could feel the anticipation building. This is 87 Harrington Street, Jerry Garcia's childhood home in the Excelsior District in San Francisco. Actually, it was his grandparents' home, and his mom, his brother, Tiff, and Jerry moved here after Jerry's dad died. And while Jerry was living here, he went to Monroe Elementary School, Denman Middle School, and Balboa High School. And then his mom got remarried and moved the whole family up to Sonoma County, which Jerry hated, and he couldn't wait to get back to the city he loved, San Francisco. On August 1st, Harrington Street will be renamed Jerry Garcia Street.
Jerry loved San Francisco. He grew up in Visitation Valley, riding the 14 Mission bus. He used to talk about just going all over the city, never being afraid of anything, and just sort of roaming the city. And one of the jewels of the city, the only school he was ever proud to attend, was what became the San Francisco Art Institute, which at the time, this is in like 57, 58, led to Jerry when he was offered a shiny new accordion to say, no, I don't want an accordion, I want a guitar. And I think he threw some serious tantrums. And his mother gave in and said, oh, all right, and well, let's get you a guitar. And thus began his life, as you know, for the rest of his life.
Welcome to Haight Street, home of the hippie movement and the counterculture. This must be the heart of town, and it still is, and it was in 1968 when the Grateful Dead played on Haight Street and brought in such a crowd. Everybody lived on Haight Street, lots of artists and of course musicians. The Grateful Dead lived at 710 Ashbury, along with tons of other people like Big Brother Holding Company right around the corner, Janis Joplin, the Quicksilver Messenger Service, Jefferson Airplanes. Everybody lived on the Haight. And so you wandered around and you saw each other. And as Billy Kreutzmann says, when you wandered around the Haight, you were bound to find somebody you knew. And as the song goes, strangers stopping strangers just to shake their hands. the Haight-Ashbury, why do you think it became just such a mecca for the counterculture?
Well, it was cheap rooming houses that San Francisco State students could afford, and there was a bus line that went from the neighborhood to San Francisco State. So it created this little community of young people that was burgeoning in 1964 when LSD hit the streets. And LSD was this bonding factor that just naturally created community. And over 65 and 66, that became sort of the central engine of the culture in the Haight-Ashbury. It was adjacent to the park. The Panhandle was like the playground for the Haight.
In the early days of the Grateful Dead, this is the place you could see a free show. It's the Panhandle. The Panhandle is the long handle. It's a long, narrow 8 blocks connected to Golden Gate Park, and it looks like the handle of a pan. In 1966, they played a couple shows here. 67, a Hells Angels party and a couple more shows. And then the famous show in 1968 where they rolled in on a flatbed truck, rocked the park, and that was the final show they ever played here at the Panhandle.
Coming out around the world, ready for a brand new beat. It's the spring of the year, time is here for dancing in the street, dancing in Chicago street.
In the last year or so, you have been appearing on almost every LP that has been released in the States.
All the ones that were recorded at Wally Hyder's, yeah.
Why?
Well, because I hang out a lot at Wally Hyder's.
We are here at Hyde Street Studios, formerly Wally Hyder Recording, and much of the San Francisco sound was recorded right here at these studios in the heart of the Tenderloin District.
There was no professional recording studio, really professional recording studio in San Francisco until Wally Hyder, seeing obviously a business opportunity, moved up here. He was a big-time engineer in LA, and he opened up his own shop here in this room. 10 of the best albums ever recorded, certainly in the 60s in anywhere. And finally, and in this room, American Beauty. And then later, Jerry's solo album, which was also done here.
The Grateful Dead would be recording, say, in Studio A at Wally Hyder's, and upstairs in Studio C would be the Jefferson Airplane recording, and back in Studio D would be David Crosby and Graham Nash. And so, like, in the course of an evening, just wandering around and visiting friends, I would end up playing on several tracks, it's just that sort of thing. It's very loose,
The reason he's on Teach Your Children Well is that he was wandering down the hallway and Crosby heard him and came out and said, "Come here," and pointed at a pedal steel, which Jerry was fooling around with at that time, and said, "Play this." And he played one pass. And Crosby said, "Great, thank you." And said, "No, man, I'm just getting into this." No, forget it. That was perfect. And so that was the kind of magic that was happening in this building.
Talk about being in the room where it happened.
Yeah.
What synergy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Grateful Dead house, 710 Ashbury, where the original members of the Grateful Dead lived from 1966 to 1968. Jerry Garcia, Bobby Weir, Phil Lesh, Billy Kreutzmann, and Ron Pigpen McKernan all lived in this then purple Victorian. Plenty of shenanigans happened in this house, and of course the 1967 infamous drug bust. And guaranteed, if you're a Deadhead and you travel to San Francisco, you will make a pilgrimage to this house to share the peace and love. I mean, Jerry was your matchmaker.
Yes.
And I had to bring up the love story because it's just
Yes.
so cute. We got married in the city at the Oasis.
The Oasis, right. And
Jerry walking her down the aisle.
I told Jerry that if he walked me down the aisle, he could walk on water because there was a covered swimming pool at the Oasis. And he thought, that was sufficiently weird. And he kind of was our matchmaker. And he said, "Hey, man, You and McNally ought to get together, was what he said to me. And he said something similar to Dennis. And then we were married that September. And because Jerry had responsibility in it, I thought, well, Garcia was responsible. You know, I
It's
mean,
his fault.
you know.
The fault.
Driving that train, high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed.
This is McLaren Park, 20 minutes south of The Haight and close to Jerry Garcia's childhood home in the Excelsior district. Each year, Jerry Day is celebrated here at the park, where everybody's celebrating Jerry's birthday. He would have been 83 this year. Jerry Day is August the 2nd, and if you'd like to come and celebrate, you can do it. Check it out, everything you need to know at jerryday.org. You started with them in the 60s, and now that 60 years have gone by,
Yeah.
can you somehow embrace it and maybe admit, you really like the band?
You know, I addressed that issue, I think, in the book that I helped to produce, the Grateful Dead scrapbook.
Yeah, the Grateful Dead scrapbook.
Right. I say I loved the band, I loved the music, I loved the experiences of being in the ballrooms with them. I loved the fact that they were so educational in their way musically and encyclopedic in their taste in music and the backgrounds that they brought, each of them, to the band. But a Deadhead, you know, that's a full-time job, man.
The Deadhead is that person, wherever they turn up in society, that's looking for an adventure in America, you know, something to do that's not like what everybody else does, and a chance to get out and scare themselves a little. You know? This is, we're one of the last frontiers where you can go out and get scared, you know, and have a scary time of it and maybe have a little trouble, but also find a lot of support and make a lot of friends, and that, you know, so it has its own energy, and they carry on quite nicely even without us.
What does it mean to be a Deadhead, do you think?
A Deadhead is someone who loves the Grateful Dead, in my book, you know. And there's all shapes and sizes, and there's no rules. There's no initiation test. You don't have to take acid. Pigpen's a great example of that. They embody freedom. And they always said, like Jerry, I think Jerry said this too, like, you know, it's like the last vestige of the circus, or following the circus, or running away from home and joining the circus. It's kind of like that, but it's also this freedom where, you know, when you're at a Dead show, and I always felt this even in the beginning, even in New York or anywhere you would see them, you could do whatever the fuck you want and not worry about what someone's going to think or say.
This is Kezar, where the Grateful Dead had their homecoming stadium show in May of 1973. It was an afternoon show with Waylon Jennings and new riders of the Purple Sage, and the Grateful Dead played for 5 hours and 3 full sets, including a lot of fan favorites. Playing in the band, ending the first set. The second set was a China Rider. The third set, we had an amazing The Other One, Sugar Magnolia, and Eyes of the World, with the encore being Casey Jones. The show was immortalized on tape and shared with Grateful Dead fans all over the country, and it still is. Long live Live Dead.
Welcome to Golden Gate Park. I'm honored to introduce Dead and Company celebrating 60 years of Grateful Dead music.
All right, we're here. We made it. 60th anniversary of Grateful Dead. We're at the Dead and Company show at the Polo Field in San Francisco in a sunny, cloudy, foggy, cold, lovely San Francisco. Dead and Company are ready to take the stage right now. We're talking to the heads out here about their very first time they got on the bus.
I have 4 children. I found out I was pregnant with my first son on the day that Jerry died, and he was born on the day they spread Jerry's ashes. He's named after Jerry, All 4 of my children are here, and they've been coming with me for, how many years have you guys been coming with me?
Since 2016.
Yeah. And I love every minute. I love that I can share this joy with my children. It's amazing.
But I believe that if you had people that were all really skilled at that particular world, that they could do it. Because on another level, I mean, on the mathematics level, architecturally, that's musically, that's what the Grateful Dead does, is we're creating architectures, architectural models, if you will, of kinds of music. And they work, and each person adds their own personality to the whole thing, and it works, you know, somehow.
Pilgrimage, but like a feeling with it too, and the sounds, and like improvising and kind of adapting, but also like road culture, definitely very counterculture.
Keep on rolling, my old buddy, you're moving much too slow.
I think that the Grateful Dead itself can die, as in the existing members can all pass on, and that itself will cease to exist. But the music itself, music is living, it's continuous.
Is not going to stop. The music will never stop, and I am way too happy and glad for that to complain about evolution. So I believe that the members will continue to be replaced, cherished for who they were and the role they played, but I believe that the band will go on. And for every future generation, I think it's pivotal that that happens.
All the things I planned to do, I only did halfway.
What struck me wasn't just the music, but how the city embraced the event. From City Hall to corner coffee shops, everyone understood this was special. Leading that embrace was Mayor Daniel Lurie.
Well, we just had to put the word out that the 60th anniversary is going to be celebrated here in Golden Gate Park, and people wanted to be here. People love San Francisco, and our job here at City Hall and in the city is to make sure that we create the conditions for people to have a wonderful experience, and I think we did that. I think people saw that San Francisco has not only turned a corner, but that we're on the rise, that we're a city that is still one of the most beautiful cities on the planet. We love our arts, we love our culture, and we absolutely love our music. It's been a huge boon the last week and a half here in San Francisco to our economy, and we're incredibly privileged to have hosted all of the Grateful Dead fans, all that Dead & Co. brought to our city. It was a time, I said it on stage, I said they brought the love, they brought the energy, they brought the enthusiasm, and it's just what our city needed.
The music never stopped. It just keeps finding new ways to surprise us, new hearts to touch, new communities to create. And if these 3 nights in Golden Gate Park taught us anything, it's that the best is yet to come. From all of us at Pantheon Media, this is Marla Davies. Keep listening, keep dancing, keep the music alive, and keep enjoying the ride on this magical trip together. Keep on trucking. Peace. Thanks to executive producers Christian Swain and Peter Ferrioli.
And our wonderful host, Marla Davies.
And this documentary is produced and directed by Albert Lopez.
Dead's 60th hit replay game produced by Perrin Ferrioli.
Game engine provided by Spooler FM.
Gigaverse events produced by Peter Ferrioli. That's
another Ferrioli. Sound engineer, thank you to Jerry Danielson.
Michael DeVestia.
And Sean Boggs. Starring Ben Fong Torres.
Bob Braylove.
Bob Minkin.
Charlie Miller.
David Gans.
David Kane.
Dennis McNally,
Grateful Don Potter,
Graham Lesh,
Holly Rose,
Jeff Pearson,
Sunshine Becker,
Joel Salvin,
Len Delamico,
San Francisco Mayor Dan Lurie,
Stephen McConnell,
Mark Purdy,
O'Teal Burbridge,
Rob Bleetstein,
Rosie McGee,
Susanna Millman,
and Tim Lynch. Please listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite pods. To play the trivia game, go to Hit Replay on the App Store and download. Our Dead 60 is just the first. Expect more rock and roll audio experiences coming soon. Go to sftravel.com/grateful-dead-60th-anniversary to find these experiences, as well as many other fun things to do in the city that gave life to the Grateful Dead. We want to thank the SF Travel folks Lynn Bernay King and Kyle King.
And everybody at the San Francisco Mayor's Office and Dead
and Company.